17-year-old Gary Lauers was stabbed to death. His eyes were cut out in what county police say was a Mr. Kasso was a dropout, a drifter, and a drug user and dealer.
June 19th, 1984. Ricky Kasso and James Soriano led 17-year-old Gary Lauers into a wooded area of nearby Northport Village. There, they would take multiple hits of acid and murder 17-year-old Gary Lauers.
17-year-old Gary Lauers was stabbed to death. His eyes were cut out in what
For 2 weeks, both Ricky Kasso and James Soriano continuously brought nearby teenagers over to the gravesite of Gary Lauers, where he would lay. July 5th, 1984, Ricky and James were apprehended by local authorities, taken to the nearby precinct. While Ricky Kasso was in custody at Riverhead Correctional Facility, he hanged himself. The only person left to stand trial, James Soriano. James had a bigger problem. Not only was his history of arrests as a juvenile delinquent coming back to haunt him, but there was also a fourth person in that woods that night. Enter Albert Canonis. Albert was hanging out with James, Ricky, and Gary the night that Gary Lauers was murdered. In fact, he was there when Gary Lauers was murdered. Eric Nyberg of Nyberg and Rosenblum represented James Soriano during trial. After James gave 4 different alibis, Nyberg came to the conclusion James Soriano was way too high to remember exactly what happened that day. Therefore, he cannot stand trial. But what about Albert Canonis? Albert Canonis was so high on drugs throughout that time, from the murder to being on trial, that Albert Canonis and none of his testimony could stand trial. Therefore, James Soriano was ultimately found not guilty for the murder of Gary Lauers. This horrific incident has led to multiple documentaries, movies, books. The most famously known as the book labeled Say You Love Satan. Today, Gary Lauers and Richard Kasso lie dead. James Soriano ultimately beat his rap case for murder. Few questions still remain though, even till today. Was there really a cult? Was Ricky Kasso really known as the Acid King of New York? Or is this just all Hollywood in the making? Yes, Gary Lauers did die at the hands of Ricky Kasso. But there's more questions still left unanswered. Next week, we unveil part 3, the last part of this episode, Acid King Ricky Kasso. As we dig deeper into, was Ricky Kasso really the Acid King of New York? And was there really a satanic cult.
The devil. Police Chief Robert Harris doesn't believe it.
I don't believe there was a cult. There was 2 or 3 people who walked around with satanic literature.
In Cow Harbor Park, the words that said Acid King.
Fires and held satanic rituals around. That wasn't true.